In our last session, we were looking at control structures, and in particular, we were looking at if statements. In this section, we're going to start talking about loops, and loops are another kind of control structure. So let's imagine that we have a message we want to print. In this case, we're going to print out "Welcome to Java." We run it, and it works just fine, but what if we want to print it 3 times? We could take this, and we could copy and paste it, and it would run 3 times, and that works fine. But what about if we want to do it 10 times? We could paste it 10 times. What if we wanted to do it 100 times? What if we wanted to do it 1,000 times, or 10,000 times, or 1,000,000 times? Our code would quickly become very unwieldy, and it would have a lot of repetition as well. So a better way to do that is with a control structure. So the first control structure we're going to talk about, as far as loops go, is a while loop. So if you remember when we did an if statement, it started out with the keyword if, followed by a condition and a block of code. That's exactly the same for a while loop. So let's do while, and then in parentheses we have some condition. And then inside that, or right after that statement, we have a block of code that will run if the condition inside the parentheses is true. So let's do something so that we can print out "Welcome to Java" 100 times. The first thing I'm going to need to do this, since we're counting, I need a variable to count with. So before the loop starts, I am going to declare a variable. I'll make it an integer because that makes sense for counting, and we'll say I equals 1. Okay, so there's the variable I'm going to use to count, and my condition will be that while, actually let me start with I equals 0, and in our loop we're going to put while I is less than 100. Okay, in our loop then we can print out our "Welcome to Java." That's inside the code block for the loop. And while this condition is true, everything inside this loop will repeat, okay, as long as this tests true. So one thing we have to do inside the loop is make sure that this condition changes so that eventually it will test false. If we don't do that, the loop will just keep executing over and over and over for infinity, and that's called an infinite loop, and that's not a good thing. It causes programs to stop running. Actually, they're running, but they just don't stop doing what they're doing. So after we print out "Welcome to Java," let's change the value of I, and in this case, I'm going to say I++, which will add 1 to the value of I. So as we come in here, I will start out as 0. We'll do a test. 0 is less than 100. That's true. So we'll print out "Welcome to Java." It'll add 1 to I, so now I will be equal to 1. And we'll come back and re-execute the loop by doing this test. Is 1 less than 100? Yes, it is. So we'll print it out again. I will become 2. We'll repeat the test. Is 2 less than 100? Yes, it is. I becomes 3, and so on and so forth, till finally we get to 99. 99 is less than 100. That's true. We print out one last time. We print out "Welcome to Java." We increase I to 100. Is 100 less than 100? It is not, and the loop will end. So this printed out, let's go ahead and run it so you can see it. There it is. We just printed out "Welcome to Java" 100 times. And you might say, well, we only counted to 99, but we started at 0. So 0 through 99 is 100 times, which is why I wanted to initialize this at 0 and count using a less than the value I wanted to run to. Let's take a look at a flowchart that illustrates how a while loop works. So we have the keyword while, we have the condition that needs to happen the condition that needs to happen in order for the loop to run. And then we have the loop body. It's a series of statements within a block, meaning surrounded by curly braces. And everything inside the curly braces after the while will repeat. So in a flow chart, that looks like this. We have a test of some kind. And remember, that's always a diamond. It's a Boolean expression of some kind. It's going to be evaluated as true or false. If it's true, the statements in the loop body execute, and it comes back around and does the loop test again to see if it's true or false. If it's true, it does the statements again. If it's false, the program will continue on past the end of the loop body. Over here is the exact same thing with the example we just did. We started our count equals 0 before our loop started. So that's in a rectangle box because it's a statement we executed. Then we make our decision. Is the current count less than 100? If it was true, we executed those 2 lines of code that were in the block. We came back around, we did the test again, and it did that for 100 iterations. So each time through a loop is called an iteration. We did it for 100 iterations before the count became a value of 100, which is 100 is not less than 100, so that test is false. And in our case, the program ended. If we would have had more code after the loop, that's what would have executed. To illustrate that, let's go ahead and put down here one more statement. And we're just going to put the word done. Okay. So this is after the block of code in the loop. So it won't execute until that loop is completed. So it printed out 100 times, and then the word done comes at the end.